let's talk about our next topic. Steven Crowder. We went on a bit of a hiatus with doing our show for a couple of months over Christmas. We pre-recorded a whole bunch of shows and then it took us a while to come back. I was having some issues with video editors and everything like that in that time. And so there was a big controversy, I suppose you could say, that was happening in the conservative media space with a gentleman called Steven Crowder. If you haven't heard of him, you have to check him out. I put all these links to all his YouTube and Rumble and everything like that. Like, go and subscribe to his stuff, because if you like our stuff, you will really, really love his stuff. Steven Crowder is, I would say, he would have to be the most, how do I say this? He would have to be the most influential, or is at least kind of almost the biggest name currently in conservative media. He is actually a comedian who does political commentary, but very comedically. But he's very straight and to the point. And he was with another conservative media organization called Blaze, and they ended his contract a number of months ago. I think it was in November or something like that. They ended his contract, and then he obviously put himself out there for offers from other media agencies, and he got into a bit of a spat with the Daily Wire. Part of me thought, I jumped from side to side during that situation. And I don't know how much we want to get into it, but we might get into that a little bit later. I'll just give you the overview of him right now. Now, he has been off the air for probably about 3 or 4 months now. And now he's been doing interviews and everything like that. I've been following him on all his interviews, and there was this controversy with the Daily Wire, who we reference a lot. And he's gone on this all-out attack against big tech, the left, and about conservatives as well, conservative media that are kind of bending their ways a little bit to feed to the big tech, which is left. And so he's back this week. He's back. He started on Monday, which is really exciting. His Louder with Crowder TV show. TV. It's on YouTube. And now he's done a partnership with Rumble. Incredible. And I suppose the thing that let me give you some of the stats. He has 58,000 paying subscribers to Mug Club. And also, if I go across to his YouTube channel, he has almost 6 million subscribers on YouTube, and he has just under 1.2 million followers on Rumble. Obviously, he's only just started up on Rumble. Rumble is a YouTube alternative. It's kind of only available in the States unless you log on online. That's where they're focusing. It was launched out against this big push by YouTube to ban ban content. Anyone who mentions the January 6th thing, banned. Anyone who like all that demonetization stuff. Rumble launched out, and they are a free speech platform. You can talk about pretty much they don't support hate speech, they support free speech. And so Steven Crowder's done a big partnership with them, and now is putting all this stuff through there. He's still putting stuff through YouTube, obviously, but he does half of his show on YouTube and Rumble, and then continues the second part where he talks a little bit more controversial stuff and actually talks openly and truthfully about things and stuff like that. Now, I came across Steven Crowder a couple of years ago, and I actually came across him by this thing called Change My Mind, where he would actually go out to schools and set up a little trestle table and put a controversial statement on a banner and say, change my mind. Like, There's only two genders. Change my mind. I'm pro-life. Change my mind. Like just those things. And he'll sit there, and I absolutely loved how he was always able to find. He would search to find what they agreed on first. That's what he'd do. Rather than trying to beat them over the head with his opinion, he'd keep winding back their argument, wind back the argument so they can find a common ground. And there's so much wisdom in what Stephen does. And going on today's topic about the truth being revealed in your actions, he was offered a massive contract with Daily Wire, and he passed on it because some of their clauses were feeding into things that weren't aligned with his values. And he stayed off the air. He could have been on the air a lot sooner, made a lot of money and all that sort of stuff. And you can just see time and time again, and I'll link some interviews below. There was an interview he did on Valuetainment with Patrick Betts. And he just his responses to everything for me revealed a man that knows what his purpose is, knows what his calling is, and just lives by it. You can see by his actions, by the decisions he's making, by his streams that he's doing. Like, so for example, he's done 2 streams so far. Yesterday, his first stream has almost 2.1 million views. His stream today has almost 1.5 million views, and that's just on Rumble. If you include, there's another 1 million views on YouTube of those 2 streams. Like, someone who's getting so much exposure, making such an impact. And you can see this man, he's just speaking his truth and living it out. And I would encourage you, if you want to keep up to what's happening in the world with a bit of an entertaining twist, and from someone who just stands up for what they believe in and really does, you see the truth, their truth in their actions, you got to check out Stephen Crowder. So I know I am a bit of a fanboy, I must admit. He's kind of told me. Actually, another thing that I love about him, Dr. Rod, and this is something that you would actually absolutely love because you're an academic, is everything, absolutely everything he talks about, he links references to on his website, and he's always going, go check my facts. He talk of facts. Like I said earlier, there was a percentage or whatever that he said about Blacks and Latinas and stuff like that increasing their average income. He quoted those exact stats and said, go and check out the report. You know, Dr. Rod, what have you got to say for someone like Stephen Crowder, whose truth is revealed in his actions?
Well, it's like what you see is what you get. And I think that's always a good thing for public figures, not to hide who they really are or what they truly believe. I say good on him for having the courage to stand up for what he believes. In terms of the contract, look, my take on that is I did hear both sides. That's just the rough and tumble of contract negotiations, because let's face it, even conservative media organisations, they're also in business.
Yep.
And they want to cover their costs and make a profit. So contracts can become difficult.
Yep.
And sometimes even people who are quite good friends can fall out over the term of a contract. And I think there's a little bit of that which has gone on here. And obviously he was in a position where it didn't matter too much if a significant income stream dried up for a period of time.
Yep.
He is entertaining. I suppose he's a comedian. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't have me rolling all over the floor laughing.
He's actually a stand-up comedian. He does do stand-up, but yes.
Look, I haven't seen that, and obviously we here in Australia perhaps are not as familiar with a whole lot of different voices in the United States. But again, look, I think one of the virtues of our modern communication technologies, social media platforms and so on, is that you can get around the established media and create a significant presence and income stream without having to go via the more traditional media, where you are likely to be censored or heavily influenced by the editorial policies of those organisations or powerful people inside or associated with those organisations. So without knowing too much about what he has to offer, certainly what little I've seen, he sticks up for what he believes in, and he doesn't worry too much about what it might cost him. But I would have to say that he's doing well. He's got a significant following, and in a sense, the cost or the potential cost to him of sticking up for what he believes in is perhaps not as high as it might be for some others, in a workplace or somewhere like that. So we've got to be cognizant of our environments and those sorts of things. But good on him for what he does, and certainly what little I've seen of him, he's very articulate. I haven't seen any of his stand-up comedy, but I think he's maybe not so much entertaining, but he's definitely informative, and he does back up what he says with data, with reference to data. So what he says is actually quite robust as well, which is a good thing. I don't think people shouldn't be able to get away with simply making bold statements without being able to demonstrate that they have some evidence to back it up. And there are plenty who do that, who basically make assertions which they don't even try to back them up with any evidence. And good on him for what he does.
And one of those we've already spoken about today. And one of those is someone who likes to just make up facts. We've spoken about him already. So I think that, talk about the contract issue, and let's go into that, because I think what I like about Stephen Crowder is what's very aligned. It just really spoke to me about how I believe that we should all know what our purpose is and know what we're called to and follow that path. And it's quite evident in what he does. He was one of the first comedians to be political from the right? Obviously, a lot of comedians have been political from the left. He was one of those early ones, and he talks about being kind of shunned out of the industry and everything like that, because everyone was like, "Why are you talking about that stuff?" But now it's popular. Like now it's like he has been a bit of a trendsetter with those things. Now, he knew his call was to use his gift as a comedian, to kind of address things comedically, but to fight this fight as an entertainer. He knows that he's a presence, a figure, and so he knew that was his call. And so he's ever you can see all through his career where he has actually stepped out of the norm and just followed his values. We spoke about values before. And for him, one of the big things is, and you say there hasn't been too much of a cost. Well, he was actually demonetized from YouTube. So he's for years not been able to make any money from his millions and millions and millions of views on YouTube, which he'd normally make really good money on that. He's not making money on it anymore. And so that's why he's had to do these partnerships and look for other creative ways. But the thing is, he's always said it's not about the money. He lost money, but he wanted to do this fight of like, I want to be able to say what I can, he says, I want to be able to say the truth. and not be censored. And unfortunately, he's been censored. He's had videos deleted. He's had, things disappear and been demonetized and all those sorts of things. And so there's been all those challenges that he's had. Now going across to Rumble, that hopefully will be able to be fixed. But when I first saw this contract dispute, right, he first did it, and I haven't put these in the link to the description, but by the time we go put this, publish this video, they'll be down in the comment section, in the description, not in the comment section, in the description. I'll link his response. He did an original video where he just spoke about generically the contracts that he's seeing. And he spoke about a couple of points that were in one of the contracts. He never named anyone, anything like that. But he said, there is this particular clause. It's not about the money for me. There's this particular clause that pretty much wraps up there was kind of two things that really stood out to me. One, he was saying they are penalizing the person who the contract is under if they get demonetized, which means they're forcing that person to play the rules of that platform. And that's what he's trying to fight against. Big tech are trying to put all these leftist Marxist views on things and trying to silence certain things. He doesn't want to be silenced. And he said he's already been demonetized, everything like that. He's just going to continue to be demonetized. And then therefore the organization he will lose his contract from it, or portions of his contract. Like I said, go watch the video for details. But the other thing was, in the contract, it was forcing them to, you must do a feature film, and you must do this each year, and you must do this each year, like part of the contract. And that's kind of like just this standard thing where everyone just has to do the same thing. I listened to that response, and I could tell that he knew what he was called to fight for. And then I heard the response from Daily Wire, who then revealed that it was their contract that he was speaking about. And then they went, Jeremy Boring, who's the CEO of Daily Wire, he did this really lengthy point-by-point response and went through the entire contract. I thought that was a great response. I'm like, okay, I get it. Maybe Stephen went a little bit overboard and kind of maybe there's more to the story. But then I saw Stephen's response after that. And I'm like, actually, no, I get his point. And I kind of, for me, there's a couple of things that stood out. Daily Wire have obviously been called to their thing. They're called to make big money, make big changes, like start a razor company, start a chocolate company, like we've spoken about before, and everything like that. And maybe their values of bending to the rules of the tech company, maybe that's their ultimate strategy, and they're just looking for the money to then pour that money into other means to make a difference. Maybe that's their calling, right? And I think that's where we need to look at this thing, is like everyone's been called to different things. It doesn't make one evil and one not. Now, in Crowder's eyes, they're evil, well, not particularly, but he kind of talks to, because they are bending to that, because that's his values. And that's okay. And I get that we're all called to different things. That's Stephen Crowder's fight. Maybe the Daily Wire's fight is something else, right? But then as Stephen was talking about launching his own thing, and he opened it up, he said, creators, come and join my thing. I don't know what it is yet or anything like that, but I guarantee I will not lock you into any contracts. I won't take away I won't own any of your stuff. I just want to support you. And it was, we've spoken about, our OnPurposeCUBED leadership program, link in description, free leadership development program, shameless plug. Yes. But we speak about that to be a great leader, you must pursue your purpose while helping other people pursue their purpose, while making sure we pursue the purpose of the outcome that we're pushing for. And I think that he kind of embodied that of like, I'm doing my thing. If what I'm doing will help you do your thing too, let's work together and let's help each other rise. And I think that there's a lot of power in that. And also he said, you got these contracts that are like forcing you have to do a movie every year, you have to do this every year. He's like, I don't care about that. Like, if you're a comedian and you want to do a stand-up show once a year, go and do that. If you're a screenwriter, write a script. If you're an actor, do a movie. Like he said, like, I just want to help you do your thing well. And I think that was the big thing that really won me over with him, with all these interviews that I've seen since, is just, you can tell his heart is, he just wants to pursue his calling, but he also wants to help others pursue their calling as well. And I know that was a bit of a long rant there, Dr. Rod, and I didn't really let you jump in or contribute. That was just kind of I think that's just my take on it, Dr. Rod, is that we need to know our calling, and we need to help other people pursue their calling, and I think that and understanding that everyone does have different callings, and that's okay. What have you got anything to add to my little rant there?
Look, you're right. We do need to recognise the assignment that we have in life, and that obviously will change over time, but it will always be aligned with God's call on our life, be that, say, as a communicator, which might then come about through an assignment in the media or something like that. Absolutely. Look, I guess the only comment I would add is I don't know that any great value was added to this whole thing by going public about the contract. That's all by either party, frankly.
Yeah.
But that's media for you, that's just, I guess, the way it is. But I don't think that was very edifying, really. And as I said, yep, look, people will have disagreements over contracts, and even conservative media organisations are looking to make money.
Yeah.
And they need to write quite tight contracts. And if you don't like the contract, well, don't sign it. If you can't negotiate changes, then don't sign it. But I just don't think a public spat really is very edifying to anybody. I like what the Daily Wire does. I think they do a great service for the conservative population. I think what he's doing, Crowder himself is doing. I shouldn't use his surname. I prefer to use people's first names. Stephen Crowder is doing. Good on him. And as I say, he's articulate, he's entertaining, he's informative, and he backs up what he says by reference to the evidence. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So look, to you, Stephen Crowder, and your Mug Club team and everything like that, and over at Rumble, I wish you the best. We're praying for you and believing that especially for people that actually stand up for leaders living their purpose, more power to you. And if you're actually out there helping other creators and everything like that pursue their purpose and fulfill their purpose, well done. We wish you the best. Yes, there's maybe some questionable ways of things are being approached, but hey, that's showbiz, as they say. But we wish you all the best. And hey, guys, if you haven't checked him out, go and give him a sub. Follow him, and let's make sure this thing, and even actually, I'll put the link below to his Mug Club, which is his subscription service, which is how he actually makes his money, because he's demonetized on a lot of the platforms. So my encouragement to you is go and check it out, and if you see value in it, support creators that are stepping out and standing up for their values, because actions reveal truth. Hey, you just watched an excerpt from the On the Cube Leadership Podcast. If you like that, hit the like button and put a comment below. Hey, if you want to watch more videos like this, check out our channel, and while you're there, make sure you subscribe.